Cambodia exports $5 billion worth of goods to Europe every year with perks, but that is about to change. In 2029, the country graduates from least developed country status, losing the preferential trade terms that have driven its export growth. The EU-ASEAN Business Council came to Phnom Penh to discuss how European businesses and Cambodia can navigate that transition together.
The purpose of the visit is to convey to the policymakers the commitment of the European business community to investing in Cambodia, to trading, because it's companies that trade, not countries. So our companies manufacture here, we sell here, we manufacture for export back to Europe and for across the region. As always, there will be policies that are helpful and unhelpful to doing business. So we like to convey on a regular basis the hurdles and obstacles that we believe impede further investment by European companies, trading and manufacturing here on our part, and all with a view to driving further investment and creating more jobs in Cambodia. Some of the issues you mentioned may have come up. I wasn't in the room, of course. I imagined it did come up, but they would have come up in the context of Cambodia is going to graduate from least developed country in 2029, and soon after that it will lose its EBA, everything but arms trade designation, which allows it to export over 94% of all its exports to Europe, tariff and quota free. So Cambodia is to be applauded and congratulated for leaving the LDC classification. It's a sign of very good policies and growth in the country for the last 2 decades. That's a success, but in the very short term it results in it losing, or soon after losing, its EBA status. So I think the Prime Minister and his travelling entourage were probably raising that the loss of that status and the near-term impact on Cambodia's exports. To achieve the desirable next step in the trade regime process, which is either GSP or GSP+. They stand for General System of Preferences, a European classification of trade. So in the absence of a free trade agreement, which is not imminent for Cambodia, but I can come back to that, Cambodia will move on to GSP most likely. It's automatic from EBA to GSP. But that comes with some loss of benefits in terms of tariffs and quotas and duties on your exports. Our recommendation, and I'm sure Cambodia's short-term preference, would be to move to GSP+, because your tariffs would be as low or pretty close to what they are at the moment with EBA. The best status to have is a free trade agreement, but that takes several years to negotiate. It's not only technical, but it's also political. And that's, to circle back to your question, that's probably where the discussions about labour rights and scam centres and things like that may have come up, because the European Parliament, for example, would have concerns about labour rights and environmental issues and scamming, criminality, etc., and would want reassurance that Cambodia is addressing those issues before it would grant either GSP+ or indeed a free trade agreement. We don't raise those issues ourselves directly because we're a business organisation. We're not. It's not that we're not concerned about human rights or labour rights, but we are anxious to stick to what we know, which is business. Anything that impedes doing business, we would like to see dealt with. If Cambodia moves on to GSP instead of GSP+, it will damage business. It will damage our exports from Cambodia to Europe. It will make them more expensive, and therefore less business will happen. I would have to say probably Cambodia is not ready right now, but it is 3 years away, so it's not immediate, but we have been encouraging all of the ministries to initiate the reforms that would be necessary to perpetuate the good status that you have now. We congratulate Cambodia on moving from LDC to the next level up, and it has aspirations to middle or upper income country in the near future. So we're reassured that the policymakers are aware of the issues that they need to deal with. We're slightly concerned that maybe the pace of reform is not what it might be across environmental issues, perhaps labour rights and so forth. We didn't specify the ones that were, because it's for the government of Cambodia to decide, but they know what the European Union will want in order to get a favourable trade status, or indeed a FTA. Every FTA that the EU signs has what's called a trade and sustainability chapter, which encompasses all sorts of issues, including labour rights, freedom of the press, environmental degradation, and quite frankly, if you don't meet the standards that the EU has on those issues, there usually is no free trade agreement. It's not aimed at Cambodia or any country, it's applicable in all FTAs for over 10 years now from the EU. The stock of foreign direct investment from European companies is over 1.1 billion euros. There are 1,400 or thereabouts European companies registered in Cambodia. Many of them are members of either EuroCham Cambodia or the European Council, the council I represent. I think the geopolitical environment we're in now with unpredictable US trade policy and some difficulties in trading with China, at least from a European perspective. A lot of European companies are looking to diversify their dependencies. They're not leaving China, they're not leaving America. Those markets are too important to walk away from. But they are looking to ASEAN as a coherent trading bloc, the fastest growing trading bloc in the world, with the youngest population and a very fast growing middle class. And I think you will see an exponential increase in European investment in ASEAN. A lot of European companies now have what they call a China plus one policy, which is, as I said, not to leave China, but to add another country to the supply chain. And I think that is the opportunity for Cambodia to go up the value chain, to go from exporting, for example, raw cashew nuts, you have 1 million ton surplus every year, to processing them into all sorts of products. That's just an immediate example that came to mind, but I think maybe light engineering, agri-food, processing your products and adding value, processing it with European know-how, European capital and expertise, and particularly in the case of food, the majority of your food exports go to China at present. That's a dependency. You should never have a majority of your trade with any one country. Europe, although it is a net food exporter to the world, also imports enormous quantities of food, particularly from this part of the world, from Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, your neighbours. So we think there's a great opportunity for Cambodia to go up that food chain, the agri-food processing, but also light engineering, logistics, finance and insurance. They're not so much added value, but they're essential elements to making your economy more sophisticated and injecting capital into the economy for your entrepreneurs to expand their businesses. Well, the EU doesn't want you doesn't need you to do anything. It's if you want to access the EU market, you need to meet health and safety standards, what are called phytosanitary standards, particularly in relation to food. If it's in terms of preservatives and colorings in food. If you just want to continue exporting, to take the example of the cashew nuts, that's fine. You will stay at that level, but you won't add any value to your own economy. Somebody else will process them in Europe or in Vietnam, and then they will end up on the consumer's shopping list in Europe, and all the added value will have been added by somebody else. So, as I say, it's not Europe or the EU that wants you to do anything, but it's an opportunity for Cambodia to derive greater value from the value chain and to go higher up the chain, not just for food, but also for other products that you export. For example, furniture. If you just export timber, somebody else makes the furniture, and that's where the added value is. Essentially, the European Union will need Cambodia to meet its sustainability standards, and that is everything from producing products not from deforested land, with renewable energy, nothing that degrades the environment. That's not punishing you, it's making you meet the same standards as our own manufacturers in Europe or all of our other trading partners. Similarly, products that are produced with fossil fuels as opposed to renewable energy suffer a carbon border tax as they enter the European Union, because our own companies suffer that tax. So to make it a level playing field, the EU, looking to prevent you exporting, is looking to bring your standards up to our own standards so that Europe meets its commitment to climate change. Just to, I suppose, to reassert that the European Council, EU-ASEAN Business Council and our members are individually and collectively committed to Cambodia. We're very enthused by the potential of the country. Encourage and exhort the government to continue its process of reform. It's on the right path. It has some near-term challenges in terms of the unpredictability of the world at the moment, but also in terms of the impact of losing the EBA status when that comes. So we're reassured, we're committed, and we believe that there will be significant additional European investment into the kingdom going forward.